Ladies, gentlemen, welcome back for another honest wife confession with your girl. It's been a minute. It has been a real minute, but today I'm going to be sharing about a time that, I just did the exact opposite of what my husband asked me to, completely disregarded everything that he had to say and just went about my way. And let me tell you, it was not, it wasn't the best idea. So here's the reality. I think that we could actually learn a little bit from each other if we were a little more honest and open on the big wide world of the internet. So buckle up, grab your favorite drink, and let's get chatting. And I know I have been a little bit in the dark recently because I have been working on a little bit of a project that I've recently launched called the Truly Living Mentorship. It is a 6-week faith-led mentorship where I am helping young women step into the life they've always dreamed of and feel alive in the fullness of who they've been created to be. So if you are interested, book your free discovery call by February 16th. I would love to chat with you. You can do that at allivalatin.com. Really hope to talk with you soon. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into where it all began. This mistake that I've made. Let's just rewind a second to about our 1.5-year mark in marriage. And it was an interesting time. You know, if you've been around, you might know that I actually really struggled in the first couple years of our marriage to feel like I was the priority. Elijah was building a business, and so his life was filled with work, and his weekends were filled with building that business. And it was challenging. It was really hard. It was taxing on our marriage. And so I often felt alone. I often felt like my life was really lacking solid friendships and just good fun. And my friendships had really shifted in the beginning years of our marriage, right? A lot of my really close friends were still single and all living together, and they were having the time of their lives. And I was recently married, and it was beautiful and amazing, but it was a completely new season. And I felt like for the first time in my life, my closest friends and I were not in the same season of life. So I felt distant. I felt disconnected. I was going through this own journey where I felt isolated and alone in my friendships and in community. And so when it came time for a good girls' weekend away, I was willing to do just about anything to get away. So me and 2 of my other really good friends had decided, girls, let's go. Let's get away for the weekend. And we began planning and we began scheming. Where should we go? What should we do? So we decided, let's go to Santa Cruz, which is about like a 3 to 4 hour drive away. And we'll take my car. We'll stay for one night. It's going to be great. Well, I began to tell Elijah of our brilliant plan, and for some reason he had an opinion about whose car we were gonna take. And I was like, please, the other girls can't take their cars. Like, I have to take my car. He's like, Allie, you really should not take your car. I'm telling you, do not take your car. You need to get your tires fixed. I was like, oh my gosh, I know the other girls cannot take their car. Like, I have to take my car. And he's like, I'm telling you, don't do it. So I decided, I'm not gonna listen to him. I'm gonna take my car. I'm gonna pick up these girls. We're gonna throw our bags in and we are going to Santa Cruz. So I did just that. And I remember the night before I was leaving, Elijah looked at me and he goes, Allie, so is someone else driving? And I was like, no, we're driving my car. I'm telling you, Allie, like, I'm having a Holy Spirit check about you taking your car. Did you get your tires fixed? No, like, I haven't had time to do that. I'm taking my car. See, how many of you know when we have needs that go unmet, we begin to make really interesting decisions? I felt so desperate for a girls' weekend away, for some time, some good quality time with some friends where we just had some fun, that I was willing to do just about anything to get there. Even if it meant absolutely not listening to my husband's input, disregarding everything he had to say, even if I knew deep down that he had my best interest in mind. So I did. I started driving. It was great. We made it to Santa Cruz. We're having a brilliant time. We stayed the night. We started driving back. I was thinking, silly Elijah, everything's going just fine, my friend. When all of a sudden, my car started to really pull hard to the left. And I was like, oh gosh. And anxiety filled me as I began to think about Elijah telling me, Allie, you really shouldn't go. You should really. His little voice is now just in my head. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I have my friends in my car. It's a Sunday afternoon. What auto shop is going to be open? Who's going to be able to give me a new tire on my car? And we are still 2 hours away from home. We are not going to make it. So I have to admit, I have to tell my friends, I'm explaining to them, see, here's the deal. Elijah told me I shouldn't drive my car, but I don't know. Maybe it needs alignment. Maybe it needs a new tire. I have no clue. My friends start calling, any place that could possibly be open. And thank God there was a tire shop that was open just a mile away, and we arrive by the skin of our teeth. And I'm thinking, I know what we look like. I know we look like three blonde girls on a Sunday afternoon in desperate need that have no idea what they're talking about. So then shame takes over, and I'm dealing with all of my guilt, and it's telling me that if Elijah knew, and you should just keep this quiet, and blah, 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 blah. And so I do, I go about, and I'm just feeling like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe it. But here's the deal. We get a new tire on, we start driving home, and I realize, in your early years of marriage, there's some challenging things that occur. And it's not because either of you are bad people. It's almost like these moments where we make these kinds of mistakes and we have these bumpy situations in our relationship, it's actually builds a foundation that is solid and is built on trust if you do a good job of cleaning up the mess and repairing it. Sometimes I think about the analogy, when you break a bone, when it heals back, it actually grows back stronger. If you do the right things, if you take care of it, if you let it rest, if you, acknowledge that it's broken and you don't keep trying to use it. And I think the same thing kind of happens in marriage and in relationships, just in general. Sometimes it's actually in the breaking points. It's actually in the points where we experience tension and friction that actually brings us closer together if we confront the thing and we do what is needed to make the change. We take ownership and adjust. So I knew the whole way coming home I was gonna have to tell Elijah. And so I get home and I have to admit, you were right. I really should have listened to you. This is the pickle we got ourselves in. It was not fun. It was stressful. I should have listened to you. See, here's the deal. It wasn't just a moment where I had to learn to trust Elijah. I had to learn to trust his relationship with the Lord, because he told me, Allie, Holy Spirit, I have a Holy Spirit check. And I thought, no, don't try to manipulate me with that. Because the reality is, normally, if you were to say that, I'd be like, okay, Holy Spirit, the Lord told you, okay, we're not going. But instead, it went to another extreme. Like, I was so desperate. I was like, I just need to have a good weekend. Forget it. It's all gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. But the reality was, he literally was having a Holy Spirit check and I wasn't listening to it. It was like the Lord was giving me every warning sign and I was saying, nope. But it actually was a moment where I was able to build more trust with Elijah, because he didn't actually marry me because I was some perfect person or expect me to make all the right decisions in my life. I had to go on a journey where I began to show Elijah, hey, your voice is valuable to me and I will listen to you because I trust you, and vice versa. I didn't marry Elijah because I thought he's never gonna make a mistake. He's never gonna talk to me in a way that I don't like. He's always gonna be just perfect and just right. No, I married Elijah because I saw that when something was off, when things were not right in our relationship, when he made a mistake, he would take ownership and he would adjust because he wanted the best for us. And see, that's the reality. Often in relationship and marriage, it's not that there's not going to be difficult things, that you're not going to make a bad decision like your girl, but it's going to be, what do you do with it? How do you repair it? Is it going to make your relationship stronger, or is it going to make things broken and difficult and challenging? Is it going to make your relationship weaker? So now I can say, 3 years into marriage, that it's actually been in those moments, those ones that were so hard, where we've made bad, hard mistakes, that we've actually grown stronger and more connected, because now there's history. Time and time again, I have seen, okay, you maybe have made a mistake, but you've put parameters in place to not make that mistake again, and I can trust that you actually are going to do it. And vice versa, the same goes for me. So, girls, ladies, I hope that this honest confession does you well in some way today. And if you have any other ideas or topics or things you'd love for me to share about, please leave them in the comments below. And if you want more videos just like this, where we talk about the honest in and outs, the real rawness of life and relationships, click subscribe. And like always, ladies and gentlemen, have a beautiful rest of your week. I will see you all next time.